Morning, ALC crew. Oh, finally, I've been waiting for this all week. Me too. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2020. And here's what's cooking this week. 1, thanks to you. 2, your take. 3, journal responses. 4, preview of Act 3. And 5, this week's to-do. 1, thanks to you. I want to thank all of you for staying committed to this new learning path for the past few weeks. I know it's been a long time. It's been challenging in a lot of ways. Last Friday, several of you joined our remote office hours on Zoom, where we talked about character motivation and the Crucible, clarified some broadcast production assignment details, and just spent some time talking about life. Many of you have emailed and have worked hard to make up, revise, resubmit assignments, and have been producing some exceptional work. Thanks to you, this remote learning approach is working in many ways. Thank you to those of you who were able to join us, and we hope that the rest of you can join us for our next one. Yo, so when's the next office hours? Remote office hours. Yeah, that. This Friday, we'll have 2. One from 8 to 9 a.m. and the other from 12 to 1 p.m. Can I do both? Of course you can. 2, your take. So the topic of last week's Your Take was the controversy surrounding the terms social versus physical distancing. You all had some very insightful comments about this. Here's what some of your peers had to say. Michael from Period 3 said, I think words have a powerful meaning, especially in a time like this when people hear the word social distancing everywhere on the news. They take those words seriously and distance themselves socially, which isn't good. I think physical distancing is a better term to use because you can still socially be together through online ways. In some ways, this right here is being social. I'm expressing my opinion to others. Anon from Period 3 said, physical distancing is staying away from a person when you go out shopping for corona supplies. Social distancing is cutting out your friends or people you care about. Physical distancing sounds much better. Yusuf from Period 3 said, physical distancing is basically not being able to interact with people, like doing activities together such as walking, playing, and other stuff together while being there. Social distancing means that you are emotionally, mentally, and verbally disconnected from someone. Hyder from Period 3 said, I think physical distancing is the right word because when the word social distancing first came out, the first thing that came to mind was that it's an internet thing. So I think it could confuse people a lot, but if it were physical distancing, it would make more sense. I would use the term get away from me distancing. Thank you to all of you who weighed in on this topic. During Friday's remote office hours, one of the topics we talked about was how hard it is to not be able to see the people we're used to seeing in the usual way. I know I'm so frustrated. It is frustrating. But one of the other things we talked about was how we are staying connected through meaningful gestures during a time when it's harder than ever to do so. How are you doing that, Mr. Silverberg? Well, I wouldn't say I'm doing the best job of staying connected to everyone, but one thing I've been doing is creating portraits of people that are close to me. Really? Yeah, so I asked them to send me a selfie photo. Then I create a vector portrait like this. They like it, and it gives me a chance to focus on those physical details, like their face, that I just can't focus on in person right now. So this week's Your Take is this. How are you staying connected to the people you care about through meaningful gestures? I mean, what if it's not creative? There are many ways you can connect with people that are meaningful. Well, I've been making videos where I talk to different versions of myself and then I send it to people. How about that? Awesome. If you're interested in earning an extra 5 points toward your semester grade, respond to this prompt in 3 to 5 sentences by Friday, April 17th at 3:23 p.m. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Next up, your journal responses. In this past week's journal series, we focused on the ideas of judgment and power, specifically as relates to the characters and story arc in The Crucible, but more broadly, in terms of how these ideas have shaped the society around us. The first question was about judgment. Why are people judged unfairly sometimes? Who is unfairly judged in Act 2? And what does this reflect about the society that they're living in? James from Period 6 said, John is unfairly judged in Act 2 of The Crucible. His wife tries pushing him to go to Salem and brings up the times he talked to Abigail about witchcraft. He is constantly looked at to explain what happened in the woods and the dancing, but nobody listens to him. Olivia from Period 2 responded, sometimes people are judged for no reason because of the way they're dressed, the way they look, their race, and especially their beliefs. Another example on why people are unfairly judged sometimes is when something bad happens in your family and you're looked down upon in other people's eyes because they assume you'll be the same, or mistakes are held against you because people can't let that go. Sama from period 2 responded, during this time, women were automatically accused of witchcraft, whether they did it or not, and a lot of people were killed because of it. Hannah from period 6 responded to this question via video response.
In life, people are judged unfairly because of one's own selfishness and overconfidence, and them thinking that their ways are above others, and that they are above others, that other people are doing something wrong because they're not like them. But a lot of the time, it's overconfidence and closed-mindedness.
The second idea we journaled about was this notion of power. Who gains an immense amount of power in Act 2? How do they use it? And what does this power shift reflect about the power system in Salem? Kylie from period 2 said, in Act 2, Abigail has gained the most power because she needed to try and finish her plan against Elizabeth. She wants Elizabeth to be charged with witchcraft. Abigail was trying to get Elizabeth arrested, which then leads to her using Mary Warren. The real reason why Elizabeth thinks that Abigail accused her of witchcraft is because she is thinking that Abigail is trying to get with Elizabeth's husband, John. Grace from period 2 continues that idea that because Abigail is a woman, back then she would be considered to have no power. And it's a huge shift because she was accused and now she's going around accusing others, making her the one with the power. This shows that the power system is messed up in Salem because women were women back then in Salem and they were treated unfairly and judged of witchcraft. But it seems as if it doesn't matter if it's wrong women are being accused as long as it's a woman. This is a good observation and a close reading of the text. The power structure of Salem was fraught with gender inequality, designed to put women at a disadvantage. Privilege and authority most often was held by men, and in order to be taken seriously or believed, the underprivileged had to speak harshly, accusatorily, and sometimes dishonestly. Well, hey, can we talk about the beginning of Act 3 before we start reading it? Totally! Act 3 preview. Before we even start with Act 3, we need to take these ideas of judgment and power and ask what happens when someone stands in defiance of these ideas. Act 3 begins in the middle of a heated courtroom session in Salem. We see the four patriarchal men of power, Danforth, Haythorne, Paris, and Hale, who are sorting through an accusation from Giles Corey that the Putnams are just accusing people of witchcraft in order to get their land. Mary Warren then comes clean about the whole witchcraft charade. I knew they were making it up. Yeah, Danforth and Paris are angered by this reversal in her testimony and turn to John Proctor to see if he's told the others about it. Why do they care so much? Like, what difference does it make? That's a great point. You would think as judges, they would want to get to the truth of the matter. But in Salem, like many other systems of power, by calling into question the superstitions and beliefs that allow the few to control the many, the defier is challenging the system as a whole. So by saying that there was no witchcraft at all, John Proctor is dismantling the belief structure of the church and the entire system of manipulation. The people in power do not like this because it takes their power away. Exactly. So what's going to happen? You got to read it to find out. Which brings us to this week's to-do. So this week, here's what you need to do. Number 1, read Act 3 of The Crucible. Remember to check out the theatrical audio performance and the film adaptation posted on Google Classroom if you prefer these formats or would just like to listen or watch as you read the text. Number 2, then respond to journal entry series number 3. We've got 2 questions. Number 1, why are judges Danforth and Haythorne so reluctant to believe Proctor's claim that the girls are making up these accusations of witchcraft? 2, in what ways do we see the public courts invading the private lives of the citizens of Salem? How do we see this happen in our world today? And can this ever be justified? Remember, you can respond either in written or video format. These journals will be due on Friday, April 17th at 3:23 p.m.
Do I have to do this?
I recommend you do it. Doing the reading and writing will help sharpen your skills and can only help your grade at this point. Plus, this is a really awesome play. I'm going to do it. And remember to join us for our regular remote office hours this Friday. We'll have an AM session and a PM session, 8 to 9 a.m., and then again from 12 to 1 p.m. Let me know if you have any questions, and remember, stay safe, stay focused, and stay connected. Catch you on the flip side.